Hi, everyone. My name's Carrie Morgan, and I am the host of this Holistic Empire Summer. So, the reason that I packaged all of these amazing women together is so that you can heal your inner money blueprint, right? And actually understand what it takes to really step into your power and own that security that you've always wanted into your life, right? So, we're here to unleash your purpose, really understand the mindset of prosperity, and start creating the profit that you desire. So there were amazing women that I've been talking to, and I have the privilege today to speak to Sherry. She does some amazing things for women. She really gets deep into your subconscious and really pulls out all of your problems that are hiding, right? That you put those blankets on. I'm going to let Sherry go a little bit deeper into exactly what she does and how she helps millions of women understand what it takes to be a female entrepreneur.
Wow. Thank you, Carrie. I have to say it's an honor to be here, and it's an honor in the lineup of women that you have during this summit. It's completely incredible and life-changing and needed on so many levels. So I'm Sherry Hemstreet, and I'm a psychic business strategist, and I connect with women's, with their soul. And I'm able to see their entire path. I'm able to see everything in their soul that is going on. So I almost get a snapshot of all of their lives and what is going on in their energy, as opposed to just listening to them tell me what they want or what they desire and what's holding them back. And I do this because since I was a little girl, I've been connected to Source. And in my first year of business, he taught me everything that I use right now. And so my first year of business was literally Source-led. And that's kind of how my life has been. So it makes it really easy to bring that to my work and to the women I work with.
Awesome. So let's go into what if I met you at a coffee shop or something? What would be one word that best describes you?
One word that best described me would be genuine. I've always been a very what you see is what you get girl. For the most part, it's just, I live my life the same way I run my business, and I run my business the same way I live my life, at the highest level of integrity that I can manage, which, everyone is at a different level at different times, and we're always ascending into greater aspects of love, integrity, and just service.
Yeah, that is amazing. I love that when people just feel the energy of the word that they want to connect with, because that's very powerful. And that brings us perfectly into, and I know you were saying what you did as a child, you're bringing into your business now, but how has your past aligned you with your current business, and how long have you been in business? Because sometimes we look back and we see all the dots are starting to line up perfectly for what we need to do in our life.
I love when you can look back and see all the dots that brought you to the moment you have right now. It's literally like the most beautiful GPS in hindsight.
Yeah.
So, so for me, I've always been an entrepreneur. I think I got my first job at 38, but I had been an entrepreneur my entire life. I modeled, I've run my own businesses. I've had several businesses at a time. And for me, I have been doing psychic business work and psychic business strategy since December 13th of 2014. So it was 12, 13, 14. And I'm coming up on my second year anniversary. So I'm really excited about that. It's right around the corner and I can't even stand it.
Yeah, doesn't time go by so fast and you're just like, oh my goodness, what is going on? It's going to be Thanksgiving next week. And I'm like, did I just say that? Did that just happen? I literally, time flies by. And that's what that really makes people understand, that you have to really own your space. You have to show up every day, because you never know what that day is going to uphold for you, what that gift. I call my 24 hours my gift. So how am I going to unpackage my day? But I would love to hear your view on how you really understand what's going on in your 24 hours. Not understand, but how do you master your 24 hours as a female entrepreneur? How do you stay in alignment?
God, I don't know if I do master my 24 hours. That's a big calling, right?
Well, there's some things that you would probably tap into and they would be like, I mastered that today. So we all have our moments. I mean, believe me, I have them too. But
we'll condense that to the moment of mastery, shall we?
Yes. Perfect.
So yeah, no, I think that's a great thing to understand, right? Because as entrepreneurs, we spend a lot of time in strategy. We spend a lot of time doing. Um, I try to spend a lot of time connecting, and by connecting, my business was built on relationships. So I try to connect to people. I try to get into that energy and reach out and talk to and have those conversations and build those relationships with whomever is there, right? Like whatever's going on, whether that's through Facebook Live or just, one-to-one communication. But I would say I have a loose structure for my day. I am very fierce about the beginning of my morning, which goes all the way till afternoon. I don't start working until 1 o'clock. And that morning time is for me. That's like my connection, my source energy time. That sets the tone for everything. So I can literally compress my day from like 1 o'clock to maybe 4 or 5 o'clock, and that's my work time, right? So it works out really well that way. The best way to describe how I master my day is, and this is probably not so easy for female entrepreneurs getting started, or for people who are just like, I don't know how deep all of your audience is into the woo-woo, but suffice to say, I'm so freaking drowning in the woo-woo pool.
That's okay. We love the woo-woo, right? This is all about the healing, the woo-woo, everything.
I love it. I love it. So, but I'm so deep into the woo-woo pool, and because I have been communicating with Source and Jesus and Ascended Masters like my entire life, I spend so much time connected that's really just how I get through my day that way, and that's how I master it. That and my team.
Great. That's a good point, right? That you have a team because you really need to be able to delegate so you can stay in your mastery, right? So that's what it's about. It's about staying in your path or your genius zone, as one of the other speakers said too, or in the flow, I like to call it. But let's go in a little deeper on what exactly do you do? Because some people are like, okay, so do you have a crystal ball? Like, not to be, but people
so what do I do personally, right?
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I mean, people do think that because we are in the world of people living in the 80s, I like to say. That's why I called my business 21st Century Blueprint. I want people to pull their brain into the 21st century. Let's get out of those old blueprints or those old stories that people have told us the way to live or how to show up.
Yeah, those paradigms are coming down quickly. I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
They totally are. So let's go and say, if I was like your client or I'm coming in, how would you help me build my business, or how would you help me? Because I do tap into some of my guides sometimes, but do you connect with them and then they help you? So let's go in a little deeper. Okay.
So I connect every day by getting into my energy, like really dropping into my body, dropping into my energy as a whole, because, I know you probably know this, but we're not these bodies with the soul inside. We're a soul with a body inside. It's completely opposite. And so because of that, I spend a lot of time really making sure my energy is in alignment. Alignment is the most hands down important thing. I could tell anyone, like, get your energy aligned. Like that is the life-changing thing. Now, how I would work with clients is, if I'm working with you one-to-one, we're going to have a lot of communication.
Yeah.
Like, my clients have my phone number. My clients get to call me up. They get to text me. I'm in their energy. I like to say, like, this isn't you hiring a coach. This is me partnering in your success.
I love that.
I'm not going to take the credit, but we're going to get to that finish line no matter what it looks like. And everyone's finish line is different. So right now I have a client who's going through launch, and it's her first launch, and it's big, and she's just out there crushing it. And, she calls me just like, I don't know if I did this right. I don't know if I did this right. She calls me when she has like those mindset moments, or she calls me when she's like, is this what's supposed to be going on? And we have our weekly meetings, and, we tackle the energy that way. But then I spend time with her in the morning. I have a healing grid set up for everyone that I work with. And it's a very specific way that Source taught me to do this. And it really blends ancient techniques that a lot of healers have lost over centuries. Like, Source taught them to me again, and I'm bringing them back into the new paradigm, because that's where you get the results, these ancient teachings that have fallen away. So I have these things in place to support my clients in a completely different way than a lot of coaches will hold space for clients, and especially strategists, because it's kind of unheard of to have like so much woo-woo in a strategist, right? But so I may wake up with
connects together.
Yeah, so I may wake up and I may get a message like, oh, this is what's going on, or I want to make sure she's aligned with her path. So I spend time on my own looking into her path, and I literally, so all of my clairs are open. So I can literally like see with my third eye. I can go to her soul book. I can access this so many ways. I can just look at her soul. I can view souls, and I can see what's going on, and I can see her path, and I can see like if this is in alignment, if this is in alignment. And that's how it looks to me. So I just kind of go in and I check all the time. I'm always listening and receiving information while I'm communicating with my clients, and also while I'm working, right?
That's so powerful.
It is. And once you tune into your client, like I have not had a client that we have not like fallen in love. There's just that energy, and once you tune into someone's energy, it's a very intimate experience. And they tell me things that they were like, I never thought that I would be so close with a coach or be able to share these things. And I'm like, that's what you need to have to get to the level that you want. And I think that's the thing that's missing is a very deep level of intimacy. How can I help someone achieve their deepest dreams if I won't share the struggle and what's going on the inner turmoil? And so it's the combination of communication, but me going into the energy, into their soul book, and looking at where they're supposed to be, and what's working out for them.
Yeah, and that's a good point that you said their soul book. But do you do the clearing process, or is it more of you just making sure they're staying in alignment?
I can do that too. So I'm a healer. I'm a master healer. Source has taught me everything I know, and it works really well. It's what I've used in my own business, and I've gotten my clients to multiple six figures through it. So yeah, if there is something that's blocking them, if there's something that needs to be taken out, I'll do the healing right then and there. I actually do something that's called soul book healing, or it's really, I've called it soul book edit your life live, because we're living and this is a live experience. So I can actually go into my client's soul book and edit things while they're working with me, whether they're on like a call with me or not. I will check in. And of course, I'm only doing things in the highest level of like integrity and for their best good and for the highest vibration possible, right?
And that's great that you went into like the highest vibration, right? Because some people don't understand what that means. They get caught up in their head, but I like to explain it as a credit score. So if your credit score is below a certain number, you will not be able to get a car, you will not be able to get a house, and nothing is ever working out for you. But if your vibration or your credit line's above that 500 mark, you can have a car, you can have a Mercedes, you can get your house, you can get your loan for your business. So I try to explain it like that. But, and that means that the higher words bring in the higher vibrations. And even when you have a lower like numbers in the credit score, you feel like crap, right? You just don't feel right. Everything feels draggy and you're not getting anything going, and it just like it feels like the whole world's against you and everything's on your back. But when your credit score is high and you have that higher vibration and that flow, you have these nice thoughts and the words seem to work out, and like your opportunities seem to show up all around you. So I like to explain it like that, just so people are clear.
I think that's a beautiful explanation. And I will say this, that the one thing that happens when I actually work with my clients is because we become connected, I impart a piece of my energy, which is like, not to be egotistical here, but just factual, very high vibration, because I am able to like use all of my clairs. I am able to communicate with beings, with walls, with trees, everything, crystals. So I actually impart a piece of that energy to support them and ascend them as well. And so it kind of helps their credit score, right?
Yeah.
So even if they're in their lower range, by the time they're done working with me, their credit score is moving.
Yeah, but that's a good point. Yeah, no, I love that too, because like, I know there's this thing where these monks, or I can't remember, I'm going to go in my head and try to figure it out, but that they had come to a town and they just did their, their ancient like healing process, and the whole tribe, the vibration of the whole like town raised. So I know that it's coming more and more into the light, but can you explain for someone like what that would mean to raise their vibration? What if they wanted to do something at home?
So amazing. So there's a very simple way to explain this, right? So, and I believe it was David Hawkins. He explains it. Is it in the eye of the eye? Is it, or is it in the other book? Oh, you're going to get me here. I don't know, but it's fascinating, right? Very easy to explain. And there's a level below the 300 level. So like, we're like deep in the credit score land. We're thinking where you can't make anything work because you think everything happens outside of yourself. And when I work with clients, I get them to understand that they have complete power and everything is already within themselves. Because, we hear these gurus and we hear these teachers out there saying, you have everything you need within you.
Yeah.
And, we're sitting at home on our freaking crappy self going, I don't have anything I need within me. Like, look around, the car's broken, the credit score sucks. Like, right? But you truly do, but you can't access that until you get to the higher realms. And the reason is because it's such a low vibration. And it's not just the words, it's the energy, it's the circumstances, it's the surrounding. But you have to get to that space where you know that all of the power you have, and you have the exact same amount of power as everyone else. So whoever you admire, whether it's Marie Forleo, whether it's Wayne Dyer, well, he has a different power now, but let's just pretend for a minute, whether it's Wayne Dyer, Esther Hicks, Louise Hay, Gabby Bernstein, I don't know, Oprah, you have the exact same amount of power within you. You just don't believe it yet. And that's the greatest thing that I can say, that when I work with clients, they start to realize greater and greater depths of power. So there's this level where you have no courage. You can't do it. Everything's outside of you. The world's against you. And when you start pushing and pushing and pushing and breaking free, that's when everything opens up. That's when you literally, your clairs start opening. That's when you become more in tune. You become more psychic. Your energy changes. You can manifest like that.
Yeah, and I love that. That's why I think you fit perfectly in here to explain, the process of unleashing your purpose, but that prosperity mindset, and also knowing it is from the inside. But people are like, really? Because they've been told a totally different way of living, right? They haven't been able to, even if they had those signs that they may be enlightened a little bit, somebody flushed it, right? Or somebody told them not to do that. So how would you explain to somebody that has been going through that, how would they be able to just slowly start to raise their vibration? Reading books that have high energy value, being around people, like what would be some good things? Having more fun, like.
God, I mean, you just don't ask the easy questions, do you?
We're tapping in. I know that women are like, really, can I do that? I mean, seriously, let me just give you one example.
I would say the biggest, God, I don't even know if I can say the biggest thing, but I would start to realize what you can create. And I would start with something small, right? Like not the blue feather and not the freaking cup of coffee, because we've all created that. And let's face it, that doesn't take anyone's heart. You never created that, right? Well, The Secret came out, and then there was like everyone's read like the squared book, so it's like but I would have to say, like, make your own list of small things. Like, I think that's the problem with the books, is make your own list of small things that you can prove to yourself that you can create, right?
Yeah.
And then you have to be cognizant of what's blocking you from creating. So there's a dual aspect of energy here. Like, you have to create on one hand, and then you have to be diligent to realize what you're pushing away.
Yeah.
On the other hand. And I think that's where a lot of people get caught up, and they're like, it's not working. And they start using a different manifesting technique, and they start using another manifesting technique. And then they find a different teacher, and then they find someone else, and it goes on and on and on. It's you. Everything is you. All those people out there are just reflecting back to you. It doesn't matter what the teacher is. And I will say, the other thing that I never had this problem, and Source pointed this out to me, and I think this is like worth $100,000. So maybe more, right? Yeah. Like, this is literally like the thing.
Go for it, Mama.
I keep getting this, and I keep like, wow, it amazes me. So the problem is so many people have been conditioned to have jobs.
Yes.
And with our society, we think like, I hear people talking, they're like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to get a job. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And the problem is, or the thing is, and he flat out told me, he's like, the reason you have never thought that money doesn't come from within you is because you never had a job. And I'm like, yeah, because this is the first thing that you can realize. If you can start to understand that the paycheck that you collect is only because of how you feel inside, and that will change. People view their paycheck as their source of income, and it's not.
Yes.
And I told you it was $100,000 thing, huh?
Yeah, that's powerful.
If you can actually start to play with that energy, if you have a job, and if you don't, if you have a business and you think your source of income is your clientele, same thing. It's not. Your source of income is you. It's your source deep inside. And so I would say, either make a list and be diligent at that, or just literally start looking at everything that you're creating. Like, my clients aren't my income. I'm my income. I create that source of flow.
Yeah, that's a good point, what you said about you think that you are that income, but that's what you really feel inside. And so many of us get caught up in that, right? In that reality. And this comes right down into like everyone has those days when like shit hits the fan. How do you come back into your mindfulness and awareness? Like, is there a trigger word? Is there something that you say and you're like, okay, to bring yourself back? Because we get there. Like, I've had those moments, and I know you have
What
those
if the
as
shit
well.
hits the fan for 30 days, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's go.
Let's go there, because that's
Let's go there.
reality. Like, one day anyone can rubber band back from that. But
Yeah.
when the shit hits the fan for 30 days, you have to step away and get in alignment again, right? Because it comes back to, you're now repelling stuff. If the shit has hit the fan that seriously, you're repelling, you're blocking, you're working on this side as opposed to the manifesting side, right? So start looking at what's not working. And whenever things aren't working, you're in resistance. So you're either in resistance that you're out of alignment, or you're in resistance that you're blocked. So those are the only two aspects that you can ever look at: blocked or alignment, right? So I just got through this, really. I just had 30 days, the best 30 days and 30 days from hell simultaneously. So I looked at it and I understood it on a higher level, what was
Yeah.
going on, right? And I was literally trying to block myself to stay small. I was trying to block myself to create a minimal amount of income. So many things. So I conquered that, and I got back into alignment. So that's what happens. Like, don't allow yourself to sit in that drudgery or that feeling for longer than you have to. But even so, like, after you recognize you're in it, go, okay, am I resisting and blocking, or am I out of alignment?
Good point. And when, like you said, you were trying to keep yourself small, and we do that as women just because we're like, okay, well, what if no one likes us, or what if this happens? But also, when you're growing your business, you do get a point of you have to up level, right? When you're in that switch of up leveling. So you're kind of like, well, I'm really comfortable here because this is a really good income. So why would I want it? So you're doing
So
that.
here's the thing.
So,
I wasn't comfortable. Like, I was not comfortable. I came in just under a 6-figure month, and I wasn't comfortable at 5 figures. Like, until as an entrepreneur, you reach the $25,000 a month point. And I think this is something people don't talk about. You don't have the income you need to grow your business and to live and to do the things. We think $10,000 a month is great because that's what society has conditioned us to, once again, but it's not really it, right?
yeah.
So I think, God, and this is tough. For me, playing small was, I kept asking for these big things, and they were in alignment, but my business wasn't in alignment to receive them. And that's how I was like sabotaging, right? And it was things that I didn't even notice. So literally the minute I started getting that energy, like, my income shot up in 1 month, and then like all this stuff came crashing down. And I looked and I go, okay, well, what's really going on here? And I was still keeping myself small, like, after I thought I was out of like the small things. So I can only imagine what's going to happen in the next 3 months with my income. But the fact of the matter is, like, I got through it, and I looked at it and I was like, what was the bigger message here? What was the bigger picture? What did I really need? And I went back to that, like, where's the alignment need to happen, right?
Yeah.
And am I in resistance, and am I blocking it? And I'm not blocking it anymore. Like, thank you.
But that's a good point, because some people think, oh, I'm doing really good, so I'm gonna like not do all that other stuff that kept me really good, right? To stay in alignment. Or they feel like, oh, well, I'm doing really good, so I don't need to do this anymore. And then you come back down. So you have to be taking that consistent, I like to call it consistent aligned actions, right? Where they're completely aligned with your purpose. And then everything starts to open up, and you become aware of all of these opportunities and everything that you need to push forward, whether that's a Facebook post that posts in and really shows that next thing that you're asking, that question, right? That the
Yeah.
answers are always there, but you just don't ever really realize until you open up that space. So that brings us into, what is your big vision for yourself and your business? So this is like lining up perfectly for us for the ultimate performance in your existence, your legacy for worldwide expansion. What do you see for yourself?
Well, I love this question because it literally is like a knife to my gut every time, right? Because it's so serious to me and it's so near and dear to my heart. I'm just like, I have to say it again. And every time I say it on one of these live things, I'm like, I got to live up to this, right?
Yeah, live up to it.
I think that's amazing. So my big vision here is a long time ago, I was shown the projection or the trajectory of humanity, and I was shown my part in it. And I was given a mission to really activate everyone's psychic powers. And so whether I do that through Psychic Millionaire or whether I'm teaching people how to do that, it's my job to bring people to that level, because what sources show me is we're all psychic. So we're all opening that up. And what that does is it's going to open it up so that once everyone realizes they're psychic, the world is going to come to a whole nother place of integrity, because we're going to start to communicate through energy and less words, right?
Yeah.
So telepathy. And because of that, no one's going to be able to lie, cheat, steal, get over on anyone, which, like, oh my God, that's going to go away, because we're going to be able to read people's minds. We're going to be able to read energy and communicate in energy, as opposed to the way we do right now, which is very, like, dense energy. And so from that, we then learn how to heal ourselves. And that is like, that's as much as he's shown me. And I think that's gorgeous. So my part here is to bring people through to their powers. Like, I don't call the fact that all my clairs are open gifts. I don't call the fact that I'm psychic a gift. I don't. And I've had a lot of people hate me for that, because I'm like, I'm not humble about this. I had a conversation with Source, and he's like, would you sit around being so grateful you had an elbow? And I'm like, no, not really. He's like, it's the same thing. Don't sit around being so grateful you're psychic. It's the same as an elbow. Everyone has it. And ever since then, I've lived my life differently. And so that's my big calling, is I'm here to, like, stand on top of the world and let everyone know you're psychic. And whether you want me to unlock that with you or for you or help you, or you're working with me through Psychic Millionaire or anything, just even accepting the fact that I'm telling you you're psychic. That's my message, right?
Yeah,
that's
because and it's really good that you said that, because I'm sure tons of people have felt these signs or felt these feelings and shut them off, and so they probably haven't really tapped into it. But even when you're younger, you're really, like, you can see kids are, like, really into their highest version of their self, but they're so in tune with the love and just everything, and their spirit is just on fire, right? But as we get older, we start to lose that by someone telling us what we can and cannot do in our life. And believe me, pretty sure I was in the vortex, like, a couple of years ago. I'm still, like, kind of in there now, but I've had moments where it's complete clarity, where I could read, like, 2 books in a week. You know what I mean? Like, I was so, like, in there, and I felt like I kind of turned it off somehow. I don't know what I did, but I could feel it, like, leaving me, like, almost like it was just the weirdest experience. But I've always been really amazed about how I think about things and they show up, and just how I connect with thoughts, and I can read people online, you know what I mean? And instantly know I want nothing to do with them. So
I know.
It's been really, really good. I've been blessed. I mean, a couple times I've gotten a little snag, but I step right up and I shut them down. I'm like, here's the deal. We're done. You know what I mean? Like, I don't play that giving my power away. But, like, it goes into, like, the whole thing of how you were born and the numbers. And, like, I mean, if you really focus in on yourself, instead of saying, I got to look like this person, I got to compare myself, and just say, I'm showing up for me, then it changes. It really changes. But this pulls us right into, how do you define spiritual alignment? You can define it for, like, how it feels for you. That would be how it looks like in your eyes. Yeah.
That's a good one. So spiritual alignment for me is just when I'm literally so tuned into the energy that I am creating, I am seeing everything come into the physical manifestation, right? Like, my thoughts, my feelings, my words, my actions. Source literally pulled the veil back one day and showed me something that I wanted, and how it was moving the whole day long. Like, it would go further away, it would come back, and I'm like, whoa, this is real.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's kind of spiritual alignment. Like, I can see, what's keeping me. So it's, it's that aspect of removing those blocks, stepping into your power, being in alignment, and actively just connecting to all that is.
So, and how does it work for you doing what you do through technology? Because some people are like, I don't really want to use technology, but I know you could expand your business using
I
technology.
love technology.
Yeah.
Technology is amazing. It's so amazing. I could go on forever about this, right? So you can be as spiritual as you want. For instance, this one time I had a guy call me from India. His name was Ganesh.
Yeah.
He had been meditating for 6 months and he kept getting my phone number in meditation, right? And he called me with a message, and the message was dead on. Now,
Wow.
without technology, how was he ever going to get me that message?
Yeah.
Right? Like, just like you said, you scroll Facebook or you scroll and you know who you shouldn't be hanging out with or talking to, right? Like, that's technology. It allows us to prove that we really are all one instead of us looking divided or feeling divided. I feel like technology bridges that gap. And for me, it's amazing. I can feel people's energy. I can read them. I can, get things on them. And when you start to realize those gut instincts that you're getting and feeling aren't just your ego, and it all comes from technology.
Yeah. So what's a good point on how somebody, like you said, I know I love how you start your day at 1 o'clock because you help a lot of people. So you have to make sure your energy is high. Now, I have noticed people are like in all these groups online and they're like, I tell them, you're giving your energy away every time you post something, every time you go in there. And, how do people learn how to keep their power, their energy power inside instead of feeling like it's getting depleted by little pieces they're dropping all over the place? Does that make sense for you?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. That really does. And I think that they feel like they have to do things and they're
Hmm.
pulled. And instead of working internally, they're working externally. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
So people are going to the Facebook groups, and I have done this. I don't really participate in a lot of Facebook groups, and I comment occasionally. But I think the thing is, people have to decide how much they want to give.
Mm.
And are they giving in a way, like, not like to limit how much you give. Don't get me wrong. Like, you can give and give and give for days. But how much is it serving the person? Or how much is it serving your message or your mission or your purpose here if you're just commenting on one person's thread? For instance, I would prefer to do a webinar
Yeah.
and then give, because I can leverage that. I can reach more people. And the difference between commenting on 50 different posts in a day or creating 50 different posts for a week is a huge energy
Yes.
expenditure. And I think people don't manage their energy right in that way. So is it smarter for me to just do a Facebook Live and talk to the people who are willing to show up and then let that video do the work? Again, technology, right? I
Yeah.
think that you have to really be smart about how you are spending your energy,
Yeah.
because as women, we get depleted. We have to work with the moon cycles. We have to take that self-care. We have to back up, when you're on your moon time and things like that. And if you learn to work with those flows, you're going to get like 10 times the work done.
Yeah, that's good. I'm glad that we just tapped into that a little bit. We don't want to be overwhelming people. It's like they get like, oh my God, what's going on? But it's true. And that's the reason I brought it up, is because I've noticed it. And I'm like, you have to realize that you are depleting your energy when you're doing these tasks instead of learning how to monetize, right, your value online.
Or
So
leverage, not just monetize, but leverage, like really leverage your time and your power, the energy output, right?
yeah, and like you can automate a live stream or a live video so that it's more on purpose and it works for you instead of you doing all this other little tiny task, right? I call it the
Hustle,
10.
hustle, hustle. That's what
Yeah,
everyone wants to talk about, right? Like, let's
yeah,
hustle to death. Let's hustle our ass off. Like,
yeah, I'm done with that. Okay,
in
so
the beginning, you know what I will say, if you're working to make your first 1,000, even first $3,000 online ever, even first 5,000 ever, like until you get to that point, that probably does need to happen. I don't want to like tell your audience that like
yeah,
don't ever do this, right? Like, let's be realistic, but depending on where you are, as you start creating more income and as you start creating that audience and that tribe and people start knowing you, you need to start using your power and energy in a more efficient manner, because you have a much bigger purpose than this post a page a day thing.
Yeah, right. That's what I mean. And it's true. But I think that hustle looks different for everybody, right? It's just not about,
Absolutely.
like just, taking 12 shots of espresso, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like what you're showing people when you're a leader. Like, is this even possible? Like, I almost died. I was just like, I can't even think that
You
this,
really saw that?
yeah, I heard them say it. And I was just like, okay, yeah, okay, great. This is not me. Not in that world. Like, I don't do that to say I have this much. It's just, I think that's absurd. I think
I'm
your physical
flabbergasted. Like, I
body.
can't
Yeah.
even shut my mouth over it.
I was just like, okay, that's crazy. But okay,
Everyone's
so
hustle is different. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I say. Everyone's helpful, but don't think you have to do what they're doing to get, you know what I mean? Go at your pace, which I feel is more comfortable. So we're coming down to, how has alignment helped you creating and sustaining abundance and wealth, whether that's a mindset or, a feeling, if you could just tap into that a little bit.
So my first month in business, I made $12,000 right off the bat. Like, my first weekend, I sold everything out. And I started my business the last 2 weeks of the year. Like, when those Christmas holidays
Yeah.
happen. And I was scared, but it was a leap of faith. So my alignment, and just like with Psychic Millionaire, just like with, I've had $100,000 launch with no sales page. And I never even I put up one Facebook post for it. So all of my alignment has come when I've taken my energy and I'm following my path, because I've tapped in, and then I'm executing and implementing on what I know there is there.
Yeah.
And
it's that simple, right?
God, I'm saying that, and I'm like, God, that really sounds simple, right?
No, and that's what people need to hear. They overcomplicate so much. They put so much on their plate, they can't see through their weeds.
I mean, that's really it. Like, for me, like, every time I've gotten into massive alignment, and there have been, so I've had a couple big things in my business, like starting right off the bat, having a 12K month, the last 2 weeks of the year, right? And then, I've had like a $50,000 week, a $75,000 cash month, $100,000 launch with no sales page. Like, everyone wants to know, how did that happen? And I'm like, it's all from alignment. And they're like, well, how did you get in alignment? I'm like, you know what? I took the time to do what I was supposed to be doing. And that wasn't the busy work. It wasn't like the sitting down and strategizing. It was the go within and what's really within me. Like, go within and figure out what I have to get out of me. Like, what has to come out of me? What do I have to give? Not what does my audience need or want. Not what will sell. I mean, anything will sell. There's women out there selling cake toppers for $5,000 a piece.
You got that right.
Anything will sell. There's another woman that sells hugs. You can buy a 15-minute hug session for $500. Like, that's not a bad deal.
That is not. Let me go check her out.
Right? So that's what I tell people. But is it in alignment? Like, how much more could that woman be making if she was doing something that was really in alignment? And every time I've taken the time to get into my energy and figure out what was inside of me and what needed to come out. There's something inside you that needs, like,
yes.
You feel it. It's got to get out of you. And some of those things will feel like vomit because they're so aligned.
Yeah, that's a great, great point. I truly am just like, I am in awe right now. And I'm going to say thank you for being here. So we're getting down to what I call the golden nuggets, or the golden nugget. Just leave us with one simple step that maybe you've told a girlfriend, or maybe you've told somebody and they did it and they end up being your client or not being your client, but they were just like, oh, this worked, right? And it gave them that belief again in themselves.
So can I leave too?
Yeah, sure.
So there was a guy who was not even my ideal client, and he ended up in one of my groups early on in my career. And for the life of me, I had been saying, if you want to do X, don't go through A, B, C to get there. Just do X. So many times people think that they have to, like, I want to be a copywriter, so I have to take a creative writing course, and then I have to do this, and then I have to build a business, and I have to do this. Like, fuck all the steps. Just go for what you want, right? And so that would be the first thing. Like, I still have people who are like, I want to be doing this, so I have to do this to get there. Like, no, you don't. And if you think that you have to, that's exactly what's going to keep you from doing it. So that would be my first golden nugget. Like, go straight to what you want. Go straight to the finish line. Don't pass go. Don't go all around the board, right?
Right.
And then And then my other golden nugget would be something that I tell myself all the time that I've experienced, which is, if you could ever completely understand how much immense power you have, and to back this up, I have literally created different things from thin air. I've levitated in meditation. I've created apricots through, like, literally just asking for them. They appeared out of thin air. And every time I do this to myself, I knock myself on my ass because I'm like, oh my God, the power is so great.
I love that.
If you could ever completely just imagine how much power you have and try to step into that, like, it's incredible.
Yeah, I love that you just said that, because I've been starting the whole, like, I don't know if I started yours, but the whole episode is just step into your power 1 foot at a time, like one step at a time. You know what I mean? And believe in yourself. And the reason I really did the summit too was because I've seen so many women either have an offer and give away the kitchen sink, or they were like not doing the other sales process, right? Or they weren't healing their money blueprint. So I wanted to just package it so you can heal, you get a little of that woo woo in there, and then sell, right? So you can like do
Absolutely.
everything is in one. And I call it like having your mentors in the back pocket in your digital library. And it's all here. It's just like having that book that you love to go back to and read that page that gets you fired up. It's the same concept. And then, it's all packaged for you so that they can really learn how to grow. And that was my mission, to really get women, like, mentor for millions of women and let them understand that space. So how could we get to know you more? Is there a website link, or there's...
The best way to get to know me is, if you want to know how to step into your power, I have a free course that allows you to actually read your own soul book. So the best way to do that is to actually go ahead and you can join my group and you can get in that free course there. That's the easiest way. I spend time in there, and you'll get to understand my teachings and what I bring to the world and who I am and how that works. And it'll allow you to step into your power and really start to make quantum leaps. That 1 foot in front of the other is going to go really fast if you take this course. So it's gotten great results. I have 100% success rate with it, and it's really incredible.
Great. I'll make sure I have all the links there.
Yeah.
What's the name of your group?
So the name of my group is Soulbook Revelations.
Okay.
And I teach you how to, I actually have a course. It's valued at like $1,000, and I give it away for free because I want people to understand how to use it. And I teach you just how to read your own soul book and get your own answers so you can step into your own power.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Sherry, for being here. I want to say thank you, audience, for, your time and your effort and really showing up for yourself, right? And really saying to yourself, I am worth it. I need to have these like-minded women around me. I need to hear what it takes to really be an entrepreneur, because that's a whole different spiritual level as being an entrepreneur on itself. So you really have to be like committing to yourself every day and just say to yourself, yes, I am worth it. I am enough. Start to collaborate with your mind, body, and spirit and unleash your purpose. Really find that mindset around prosperity and start creating that profit that you deserve deep down inside. So we're going to be signing off. I'm going to let Sherry say goodbye to you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. We shall see you later. Make sure you stay tuned. There's tons of other women and speakers that are out there that we're going to be tapping into so that you can better understand your soul purpose.